Good morning, and welcome to the Montebello Police Department's orientation for police officer. I'm Sergeant Ruben Zavala, and today we'll be providing a brief overview of the hiring and selection process for the selection of police officer.
How to become a Montebello police officer. We hire three types of police officer applicants. The first one is police officer trainee. A police officer trainee is someone right off the street or right out of college who has not attended a police academy and has no police training whatsoever. A police trainee is a position that we would hire for, and then we would send you to a police academy. Once you graduate from the police academy, we would then put you on an FTO program and you'd hit the streets with another officer. A pre-service police officer is a candidate who has previously attended a police academy, is currently enrolled in a police academy, or someone who was previously a police officer and currently is no longer a police officer. A police officer lateral is someone who is currently employed as a police officer, has a basic California Post certificate, and is off your probationary period with your employer. What are the requirements to be a police officer? You must be at least 21 years of age, must have a United States high school diploma or GED equivalent, have no physical or mental limitations that might prevent you from completion of any duty assignment, have vision correctable to 20/20 and uncorrected to 20/70. You must have no felony convictions, possess a valid driver's license, be a United States citizen or permanent resident alien who is eligible for and has applied for citizenship. You cannot be on court-ordered probation at the time of application. Selection process. This is probably one of the biggest questions we get. People ask, what do I need to do to become a police officer, and what is the process? First thing we do is review your application for minimum requirements. Once you meet those minimum requirements, then we will administer a written exam. And the written exam is only given to those that are applying for police officer trainee. Once you pass that exam, you'll be given a physical agility test, or a PAT as we like to call it. You pass your PAT, you'll move on to the oral interview. Once you pass your oral interview, you will take a polygraph examination. You'll be entered into a background investigation, take a psychological exam, and a medical examination. And then you're on to selection. The written exam. We administer the Peace Officer Standards and Training Entry-Level Law Enforcement Battery Exam, which is referred to as the Pellet B exam. There are a couple websites here, or a couple links I should say, that will give you information on the type of exam you're going to take. Now, obviously, since this is a video, you won't be able to click on the links above. But if you simply type in post.ca.gov in your web browser, once you get to the post website, you can type in Pellet B. And, they will give you all the information from these two links for you to study, and they even have a sample exam. Now, your written exam can be waived if you're a police officer trainee, under a couple of circumstances. Now, if you've already taken an exam with another California agency within the last year of when our exam is scheduled, we will accept that score if it meets our passing score. Now, on this PowerPoint, you will note that our passing score is a T-score of 42, but at some point this may change, and it could be higher, it could be lower. It just depends. This is a question you will have to ask Sergeant Zabala and or Corporal Ferrari. If you have in fact taken this test prior, you can show proof of your T-score by sending us the email that you received or a copy of the letter that you received on the city's agency letterhead, illustrating what your score is. The PAT. Now, the PAT is comprised of an obstacle course, a body drag, chain link fence, a solid fence climb, 500-yard sprint, and 1.5 mile run. The first 5 events are timed and scored. Candidates must achieve a minimum of 384 points. The mile and a half is pass-fail, and you must complete that in under 15 minutes. Our PATs are given up at Rio Hondo College, usually on a Saturday or a Sunday morning. And up at the academy, they actually have what we refer to as the old academy. They actually have the chain link fence and solid fence up there that you can go up to and practice on. We highly recommend, before taking a physical agility with us or any other agency, that you go up to the academy and practice getting over the walls. You can even go down to the track at Rio Hondo College and run your 500-yard sprint, which is basically one time around the track plus 100 yards. And you can also run your mile and a half there, because that's where the runs take place. Preparing for the physical agility test, we'd ask that you invest in a quality pair of running shoes. You should be stretching and warming up prior to any physical activity, and you should be participating in aerobic exercise, calisthenics, stretching, distance running, sprints. Circus-style training is encouraged. If you are a CrossFitter or you're doing other similar types of movements, you probably will have no issue with this test. But if you're not familiar with CrossFit and are not part of a gym, I suggest you start doing a lot of body weight movements. For example, you should be doing push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, air squats, and doing some running. Some circuit training with runs would be great. If you're familiar with the term Tabata exercises, you can actually turn some of these movements into a Tabata circuit. If you aren't familiar with Tabata, please feel free to look it up. And it's just a way that you can orchestrate your workouts. Your oral interview. Now, keep in mind, we all had to take an oral interview when we were processing to become police officers. We remember where we came from. We remember how difficult it was at times, or how nerve-wracking it could be, and how nervous that you are. So our oral panel consists of 3 Montebello employees, usually the recruitment and hiring sergeant, the recruitment and hiring corporal, and another sergeant or other Montebello police officer. Now, in this interview, you'll be posed several structured questions. The questions are designed to evaluate your knowledge of relevant topics and assess your communication skills. If you successfully pass, you'll be placed on an eligibility list, which is valid for 1 year. Here are some tips to prepare for your oral interview. Number 1, first and foremost, do your homework. Find out what you can about the City of Montebello and the Montebello Police Department. You can usually find out all that information on our city website and our police department website, or specifically on our social media accounts as well. But we're looking for someone that doesn't simply want to be a police officer, but someone that wants to be a police officer for the Montebello Police Department. And we want to know why you want to work for Montebello Police Department. We're not going to give you the questions or the answers to any of the questions. But you should be familiar with our department mission statement and our core values. If a ride-along is something you would like to do, please email Corporal Ferrari, and she can schedule that for you. When you come to your interview, you should be dressed to impress. And what that means, you should be in business attire. Men, you should be in a suit and tie, and women, you should have a pantsuit. Now, we realize that some of you may not have jobs that would support you and allow you to buy a suit. We understand that these items could be expensive, but borrow one from someone. Would you rather see you show up in a suit that's too big or too small? Because it at least shows us you've made the effort to go out there and find a suit. We've had people show up in a sweater and a button-down shirt with no tie, and they think that's acceptable. Keep in mind, we give this orientation to everyone that comes through our process, and people still can't seem to follow directions. So if you're in a suit that doesn't fit or that doesn't fit you because you borrowed it from somebody, you're still going to impress us because it shows to us that you went out and tried to find a suit. First impressions are everything. You should enter your interview room with confidence, a smile on your face, and when you walk up to each panelist, we expect that you would shake their hands Look them in the eye and greet them. Give them a firm handshake, a quick greeting, and then wait to be seated by the panel members. Never automatically sit down. Wait for someone to seat you. When you answer your questions, look at the individual that asked you the question. Look them in the eye so that they know that you're speaking to them personally. And as you continue to answer the question, slowly move your eyes or your view to the other panelists so that you show them that you're speaking to them as well and not simply one person. Be polite, sit up straight, and keep your hands either in front of you or on your lap. At the end of your interview, you might be asked if there's anything you'd like to add. Always have a closing. And give your closing. Your closing could simply be something like this. I'd just like to give you all, I'd just like to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to sit here and interview with you for this position. I'm really looking forward to becoming a police officer with the city of Montebello and look forward to see you in the future. Thank you for your time. That's a simple closing statement, and they go a long way. When you're done, stand up, shake the hands of your panelists, look them in the eye, and thank them for their time. Exit the interview room with confidence. Keep your head held high, have a smile, shoulders back, and walk out and own it. Background investigations. We conduct an extensive and comprehensive background. We follow the guidelines of California Commission of Peace Officer Standards and Training, POST. If you're not familiar with POST, I mentioned it in the Pellet B portion of this, become familiar with the POST website, post.ca.gov, because everything we do is governed through POST. We will make inquiries into several areas in your backgrounds. We will take your fingerprints, and we will ask you for a lot of paperwork and information. Now, we conduct a background orientation interview, which we refer to as a BOI. And this is usually conducted by the recruitment and hiring sergeant or the training sergeant and even the corporal in recruitment and hiring, which currently is Corporal Katie Ferrari. At this background orientation, you will have already been given several documents to complete, one of which is your PHS, your personal history statement. And this one, believe it or not, is what causes a lot of people to be disqualified because you fail to disclose. It's important that you include anything and everything on your background that you think we need to know about. We will find out about it, all right? However slight you might think it is, if you're not sure if you should put it on your background, send us an email and ask us, or simply put it down. We would rather have too much information about you than not enough. Okay? All this information that we gathered is going to be fact-checked by our background investigators. We expect you to be candid and honest at all times with the investigators. If at any time we find that you're lying or you're deceiving us, you'll automatically be dropped from the process. We'll be investigating your personal information, so we want to know your name, your alias, any nicknames you've gone by, your birthday, social security number, any tattoos, your citizenship. We want to contact your relatives and acquaintances because they will give us an outlook on you, and we hope that they'd be honest and tell us the type of individual you are. We check your high school. We ask for your transcripts from both high school and college. We want your diplomas. We want sealed transcripts, and we check your residence. We go back 10 years. So we go back and we speak to neighbors that you grew up with throughout the past 10 years, whether it's in California or another state. Our background investigators do a thorough job. We also will look into your employment. We want to know all about your employment history, including part-time and voluntary jobs, and we'll verify this information. We also want to be able to talk to your coworkers and current and past employers. If you're in the military, let me start off. If you did not serve in the military, we want to see a copy of your selective service record to see that you actually applied when you were 18. And if you were in the military, we ask you to get your personnel package from the military. It usually comes out in a form or in the form of a CD. They're usually not printed out anymore because they're very lengthy. But if you get your military service record for us, it'll make your background process that much quicker. So we ask that you get that for us ahead of time. We check your finances. We want to know if you're responsible, if you're dependable, if you're mature, and if you live within your means. We want to know that if you have a foreclosure or that you were late on a bill, that you're doing something to fix this. Now, none of us are perfect. You might have fallen on a hard time or lost a job and weren't able to make a house payment or a credit card payment. That's fine. But what are you doing now? Have you fixed that? And are you being fiscally and financially responsible and paying it back? Those are the things that we're looking for. We'll do criminal inquiries on you. So you need to tell us if you've been arrested, how many times you've been arrested, if you're on probation, any of that information. We want to know everything, anything and everything. If you're arrested or not convicted, we still want to know that. A lot of times people will leave out this stuff. We've had applicants leave out DUIs that happened 10, 15 years ago. And a DUI in itself isn't something that's automatically going to disqualify you. There's a lot of other factors that lead up to it. Just don't leave it out. Tell us if there's something that you did in your past. Once again, none of us are perfect. We've all made mistakes in the past. We want a copy of your insurance. We want a copy of your driver's license. We want a copy of your driving record. We want to see that you're responsible. We want to see that you have insurance. We want to know that that you're a responsible driver and you'll do the same as a police officer. Once all that's completed, then you'll get a conditional hire if we decide to move forward with you. And at that point, you'll be set up to take a medical and a psychological exam. The medical is made up of a physical exam, a drug test, and a stress test, where you have to run on a treadmill for X amount of time to see how your heart functions. And then you'll take a psychological exam with one of our doctors. And once you complete all that, we look at the selection standards. Now, the selection standards are set by post. There's 5 major categories: moral character, handling stress and adversity, work habits, interaction with others, intellectually based abilities. Now, these are the 5 categories we look at to see if you're a fit for our agency and see if that you are someone we want working for us to represent our community. All communications in the background process will be conducted via email. Please monitor your emails. Please put our email addresses in your contacts of your respective email clients. A lot of times our emails will end up in your spam folder and you won't know about a specific process or a phase of the testing because you didn't get the email. But in essence, it was in your